The riffs are too repetitive, the lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides and the cover art's a mess. There's so much here to tear apart. Listen to it for a week, now that week has passed. It's Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Garrett.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Why I Hate This Album. I am one of your hosts, Garrett Harvey. With me as always, co-host extraordinaire, Honda my Timothy Richardson. Tim, how you doing this week, buddy?
I am doing excellent, Garrett.
That is surprising, suspicious, and intriguing. What's got you in such good spirits?
Garrett, I got to rewatch one of my favorite films this week.
Oh, you know what? That makes total sense. You must be in a great mood. What film is that, Tim?
Well, that's 1998's Godzilla, of course.
Of course. And what choice song, what signature selection are we talking about from that very motion picture?
We are talking about Puff Daddy's 1998 single, Come With Me, featuring James Page, and also sort of featuring Godzilla at parts.
Absolutely. Depending on the version you have, Godzilla is featured heavily.
This was a suggestion by Preston Bayer, who wrote, "Never before has a music video been more inspiring to my life as when Diddy raps accompanied by an orchestra in Times Square as Godzilla destroys the rest of the city." I think that sounds accurate. He goes on, though, the most important thing is to never forget that Matthew Broderick killed 2 people in a head-on collision in 1987 in Ireland, and that it is 100% his fault. Never forget.
Yeah, the first time I saw Godzilla, I didn't think it had anything to do with that. Second time knowing that, way better movie.
Oh yeah, it's all a metaphor for that time he killed 2 people in Ireland in a head-on collision in 1987.
And he was ruled completely not at fault.
I think he was at fault.
Oh yeah, no, I think he was on the wrong side of the road. I'm not saying that, though.
Never forget.
Never
Allegedly.
forget. Boy, we are in a tangle of words right now. Allegedly, he's a murderer.
Yes.
But
also a listener, though.
Is he?
Yeah.
What about Sarah Jessica?
No idea.
That's got to be tough, because I think we've maybe made some jokes in the past. Matt, I'm sorry. Tim, I wish I'd known. Anyway, we can't dwell on the past, and it's not my fault I didn't tell him to marry that horse. Tim, do you hate this song?
I think I hate this song. However, if we're including the music video, I do not hate this song.
And I'm usually the one that wants to include the music video, but we are only looking at the... we're going to talk about the video. Of course, it's a giant goddamn lizard in it. But for the purposes of do you hate it, we got to go pure song. So you're on the side of hate. Interesting.
What about you?
Oh yeah, I hate this. I hate this. I've hated this since the moment I heard it some 21 years ago. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, fuck this song. Puff Daddy, P. Diddy. Puff, he has another name, right? Just Puffy. I don't like this man.
I think the name you're thinking of is Pity.
Pity. I don't mind it. I also like Puff Doodle. In any event, the man with many names and no personality to speak of did perform this song.
Yep.
And I hate it. God, I hate it. But before we can talk about why, Tim, I'm curious. You're a bit younger than me and lived overseas for an indeterminate amount of time. What is your history with this song?
It was kind of everywhere for about a year, 98 to 99.
And you heard it then?
Yes, but I've really only heard it on rewatchings of the 1998 film Godzilla prior to this week.
Damn it.
And look, I do think the song is terrible, but it should not be seen as a reflection of my feelings on the movie. I, along with Garrett and the rest of the Why I Hate This Album staff, frankly, I think we should take this opportunity to reaffirm Roland Emmerich and Matthew Broderick's vision of Godzilla as the one true Godzilla. It is the definitive interpretation.
Tim, this is a great opportunity. This is a conversation we've been needing to have for a bit. Audience, just a brief moment. We participate in weekly mandatory viewings of the 1998 film Godzilla starring Matthew Broderick, and frankly, Tim, we hate it. The whole staff cannot stand it. The movie's not very good.
That's not true. That's not true.
Even for a single viewing, it's difficult to sit through. But for God's sakes, man, we're going on 86 weeks now.
But here's the thing. It just boggles my mind that somebody could have so little imagination. I mean, there were like 200 eggs there. Think about what could have been if you had let them continue with this franchise. 200 Godzillas in New York City, Garrett? Oh my God. Oh my God. And Matthew Broderick's just murdering people. And Godzilla, presumably, is trying to stop him.
You think, oh wow, Tim, we've watched that movie. You've watched that movie that I can personally account for over 111 times. You know what? I'm not counting this week. 141 times. They destroy all the eggs. Matthew Broderick killed those people years before. What are you talking about?
I mean, he destroys the eggs, but how do we know that that's the only nest? I see endless sequel opportunities here. Maybe the baby Godzillas come back for revenge, and they're like small, so they're like the raptors to his T-Rex, right?
Mm-hmm. And I think that's what they were going for.
Yeah, and so they're like hunting him through some sort of tall grass, probably, and he's driving his car.
They're hunting the mother?
They're hunting Matthew Broderick for revenge.
Oh, Broderick's back.
Yeah, he murdered their siblings.
Oh, I see. A new nest. A new nest is hunting Dr.
Oh, I like that. Godzilla, the new nest. Perfect.
Ooh, it's not bad. What's amazing, Tim, is given your love for this movie, you shouldn't be concerned about this song being a poor reflection on it, given that it doesn't actually play in the movie. It plays over the credits. This was in a time in the late 90s, we were still commissioning songs for movies and soundtracks that never appeared in the movie.
Hey man, Venom.
Oh God, they're still doing it.
Yep.
Oh my God, you're right.
Oh, and speaking of Venom, I can't wait for that song.
Oh God, Venom. You were here in the States in 98, so you heard it on the radio.
Oh, I was not in the U.S. at that time, Garrett? No.
So how did you hear this song?
Oh, this was big in Saudi Arabia, the movie and the song.
Really?
Oh yeah, this was big internationally.
I do not understand that culture at all.
Oh, they love Matthew Broderick. Everyone does. Who wouldn't love that man? He'll murder you if you don't love him.
Good God.
Allegedly. You make fun of Matthew Broderick, or you don't profess your love sufficiently enough, and you go home, you go to your apartment complex, you hit the elevator button, those doors open, and there's a car in there.
Yep, Geo Metro just takes it down.
Anyway, have you heard this song before? To get us back on track here.
Absolutely, Tim. I was super excited. This was years before Hollywood had destroyed my love of Godzilla. I grew up loving the originals as a little kid, and then when I heard that Matthew Broderick, I was equal fans Matthew Broderick and Godzilla, and this movie destroyed both for me. I saw this in the theater with my father. We were both pretty disappointed. This song was everywhere, and for the life of me, I'm unsure what this has to do with Godzilla.
It is tangential at best.
Before we can talk about the song, we need to understand the man behind it. So Tim, take us on a very brief journey if possible. Help us understand the history of one P. Diddy Doodle Combs.
Sean John Combs, aka Puff Daddy, Puffy, Diddy, P. Diddy, Pity, all sorts of things. He was born in Harlem.
Daddy Doodle.
Oh, I like Daddy Doodle. So Daddy Doodle was born in Harlem in 1969 to a teacher's assistant / model, and what Wikipedia describes as a...
Teacher's assistant / model?
Yes, and what Wikipedia describes as an associate of Frank Lucas, best known for being played by Denzel Washington in American Gangster, and also for selling a shit ton of heroin.
Yeah, and shipping it into America via Vietnam caskets.
Yep, Daddy Diddle's dad was shot and killed in his car near Central Park when Daddy Diddle was 2 years old. The name Puffy comes from him being called Puff as a child because he would huff and puff when he was angry. The name Daddy comes from his immersion into daddy play culture to the point that he is a leading figure in the movement, a daddy trendsetter.
I've heard he is what is referred to in those circles as a full-time daddy.
Oh, absolutely, so Garrett. Yes.
It's not relegated to intimate contact or erotic situations. He has excelled, he's transcended to such a high level of daddyhood that you and I, just on the street, I could give the man change for $1 and say, there you go, daddy. And that's completely okay. You know how many levels high up on the daddy scale that is? He might be head daddy, and that terrifies me.
He was raised super Catholic. He was an altar boy, and he went to Catholic school where he played football. And then he went to Howard University, left after his sophomore year, although he did get an honorary doctorate whenever he did the commencement address in 2014. So technically, it is Dr. Daddy Diddle.
Daddy Doodle.
Pity started out as an intern at Uptown Records and eventually became a talent director, notably working with Biggie and Mary J. Blige. He also apparently liked throwing parties that the internet claims thousands of people would attend. That sounds high. However,
I think it's right, though.
Yeah, I do too, because he did an AIDS benefit in 1991 that resulted in a stampede killing 9 people. And you and I have parties, only 9 people show up. It's impossible for 9 people to trample themselves.
Yeah. 8? Sure. 9? No. Tim, why do you think nobody shows up to our parties?
Well, we only know the 9 people.
True. And we don't tell anybody else about it.
Right. But we have a strict no guests policy.
God, you know what? I've been meaning to bring that up. We should probably re-examine that if we want more people at our parties.
Do we, though?
That's a good question.
You know, the stampede killing 9 people at his AIDS benefit party, that seems like the kind of thing I would have investigated further. Honestly, I prefer the mystery. He got fired from from Uptown and started Bad Boy Entertainment, which did really well right out the gate as it was selling a ton of music by Biggie. Their production team worked with Mary J. Blige, Usher, Lil Kim, Mariah Carey, Aretha Franklin, Boyz II Men, and TLC. Dr. Daddy Doodle produced a significant portion of the Crazy Sexy Cool album, which I was not aware of before this week.
Yeah, which is crazy because you love 4 songs on that album.
They might be those 4 songs. Who knows? Maybe I love Dr. Daddy Doodle.
I think it's pronounced diddle.
I think you corrected me the other way.
Tough to say.
He was also part of a feud with Biggie versus Tupac and Suge Knight.
Never heard of it.
That's fair. 1997, he became Puff Daddy officially whenever he released his first single and album, No Way Out, which debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200, won a Grammy for Best Rap Album, and sold over 7 million copies. Pretty strong debut, I guess.
Yeah, considering he had never made music before. I mean, he produced the shit out of music, but...
Yeah, but it doesn't sound like he has done that, and this song makes it seem like he's never made music before. In 1998, of course, he does the song with the week, Come With Me, for the great American classic film 1998's Godzilla. It's a collaboration between Dr. Daddy Doodle and Jimmy Page. I assume we're going to do a deeper dive into James Page at some point, but we can just mention here that he is a cross between Steven Tyler, Don Henley, and R. Kelly, allegedly.
Yeah, no, that's a pretty... Wow, Tim. Congratulations. You nailed it. And in case any one of those 3 are not the subject of King of Hollywood, also the subject of King of Hollywood.
Absolutely. Dr. Daddy Doodle continues as a producer. He does a lot of tracks for Mary J. Blige, Biggie, TLC, Boyz II Men, KRS-One, LL Cool J, Jay-Z, R. Kelly, as well as a bunch of movie soundtracks. And then every 5 years or so since then, he's released an album. He also has a ton of other companies, a clothing line, a men's perfume called I Am King, dedicated to Martin Luther King, Muhammad Ali, and Barack Obama. He owns part of Ciroc Vodka, and he owns a clothing line called Sean John. He owns a TV network, a bunch of other stuff. But Garrett, before we move on, I think we need to do a rap sheet on this guy.
Ooh, Tim, it's been ages since we've been able to do this segment. I'm glad you came prepared. Tim, give us the P. Dingle rap sheet.
He was sued by a woman in LA for quote-unquote landlord neglect. The lady rented a house from him that was infested with insects, rodents, and vermin. And also all the doors were broken, so she had to enter and exit via a doggy door. Allegedly. In 1999, Dr. Diddle asked for a scene in a music video featuring him being crucified to be removed. He was worried that it might appear blasphemous. It aired with that scene, so he went to Interscope Records and assaulted somebody, and then was sentenced to 1 day of anger management class.
Yeah, that seems proportionate.
Later that year, 1999, Dr. Doodle and girlfriend Jennifer Lopez were at a Manhattan bar where gunfire broke out. Dr. Doodle was charged with various weapons charges, as well as charged with bribing his driver to claim ownership of the gun. He was found not guilty on all accounts, and another rapper that was there accused of the exact same thing served 10 years in prison.
Wow, that's weird.
Yep. 2001, he was arrested in Florida for driving on a suspended license.
How is that possible? Like, you have to have somebody that does everything for you, and you don't have a single person that goes, hey, P. Dingle, your fucking license is going to expire. This is something I cannot do. Oh, there it is. I answered my own question. It's the one thing he has to do himself.
Right.
Do rich people have to go to the DMV?
Oh, absolutely, Garrett. It's the one thing that brings us all to the same level.
I'm not sure that's true. If anybody has the inside skinny, is there some service rich people can do? Because, well, you don't have to go to the DMV every year. Like, I've gotten my license renewed using the photo that was already there.
Oh, sure. That's why I look like I'm 16 in my driver's license.
False. Then why do you look 16 in real life?
It's impossible to say, really. He has also been accused of violating Honduran labor laws for his Sean John clothing company, essentially charging he is running a sweatshop that restricted access to bathrooms, as well as forcing workers to have cavity searches and involuntary pregnancy tests. And then in 2006, Macy's stopped selling Sean John jackets after it was revealed that they were made with raccoon dog fur.
Which is, bit of a misnomer here. I feel like P. Doodle's not getting a fair shake. Let's look at these accusations, Tim. First of all, it's not really a raccoon. It's more of like a big rat that looks a lot like a fox.
Yeah.
It's neither a raccoon nor a dog, so let's all settle down.
But here's the thing. It is eating eating garbage, right?
Oh, sure. It's nowhere near as dexterous as your garden variety raccoon, but it's important because people have an image in their head and like, oh God, that sounds adorable. And believe me, some sort of dog-raccoon hybrid, that does sound adorable. Sounds like a red panda. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up.
Oh, do yourself a favor. Usually we say don't look things up. Go look up a red panda. Look up all the red pandas. Look up videos of them playing in the snow. Look at them climbing in trees. There's a lot of good ones of them at zoos, kind of confused by mirrors. That's pretty adorable.
Okay.
They can eat. Have you ever seen one? Garrett, have you ever seen one eat a grape?
No, of course I haven't.
It's the best thing you'll ever see.
What? You have such a deep bench on the red panda. Who knew?
Garrett,
what?
I own 6 red pandas.
Oh my God, I do not think that's legal. How have I never seen them?
They live in our guest rooms.
Oh, this is coming together.
That is also what that smell is.
Well, you know what? Honestly, that's comforting because I thought it was you and I was trying to figure out why you smelled like a South Asian animal.
Why I smelled like 6 red pandas?
Yeah. Anyway, so it's not a dog, it's not a raccoon, it's closer to a fox, and people love fox fur, so let's all just relax. What were the other accusations, Tim?
There were the involuntary pregnancy tests, not allowing people to use the restroom, and cavity searches for his employees.
What do we mean involuntary?
Listen, if you've got a woman working for you,
and we have many.
Right, we can't allow them to get pregnant. They'll take time off, and they expect, like, maternity leave. Like, I can't pay for that. I mean, granted, our employees are all unpaid interns, of course, but still, they're gonna try and not show up to work.
Right. Well, I'm just trying to understand the nature of the complaint. I don't understand what they mean. What do they mean? Mandatory pregnancy tests?
Right.
What does that mean, mandatory?
You gotta pee on the stick. See if you're pregnant.
I mean, listen, Tim, I go to work, right? I pee no less than 11 times a day.
Yeah, often on sticks.
Right. I'll pee on those sticks. What's the big deal?
I am not accusing him of the... Well, I'm accusing him of the raccoon dog fur thing, but I agree with his labor practices, all right? That's all I'm saying.
What was the last one?
Mandatory cavity searches or the not allowing people to use the bathroom?
I mean, you got to conserve water. Sounds like he's just trying to, save the planet. And those cavity searches, they're as much for your safety as they are for mine.
What if somebody is trying to smuggle out one of those raccoon dog fur coats in their butthole?
Right. You got to make sure you don't have any Diddy branded t-shirts, jacket, maybe one of those poofy vests up your butthole. So we're just going to give it a quick peek. Maybe check out the back of your throat. Make sure you haven't jammed any socks down there. In your, where did you say they were? Bolivia or somewhere horrid? Honduras, yeah. Yeah, you know what I need in Honduras? Food. You know what I don't need? Sean John clothing. Good Lord.
Well, I don't know,
Sir,
Garrett. Sometimes, it's winter, you need a jacket.
Not in Honduras. It's a balmy 80.
Where's Honduras?
Moving along. Is that the end of the rap sheet?
The only other one, it's not technically a crime. I kind of suspect it should be. For his son Justin's 16th birthday, he bought him a Maybach.
Oh, come on.
Right. Your dad waited until you were 18 to buy you your first Maybach.
Yeah, when I was responsible. You know what he gave me when I was 16?
No.
11 kittens.
Oh, God.
No, it doesn't end like that, Tim. Quick side note. Tim was worried that this story ended with the drowning of 11 kittens based on a childhood story I told him once that I cannot repeat online, but needless to say, it scarred me. No, he gave me 11 kittens, and he said, you have 2 years to show me that you can raise and care for these kittens and teach them to work in Congress to perform a small heist at a local Wells Fargo. Now, Tim, I didn't ever perform that heist, and that wasn't the point. I later learned he just wanted to know that I could. And I mean, I got outside that bank. I had my, at that point, cats trained. They were currently disabling the security alarm, and sure enough, Fred pulls up in the truck, and he's like, I'm just kidding. I just wanted to know that you could and that you were responsible. Here's your Maybach.
That's nice. Had the cats killed any security guards by this point?
4.
Okay.
And not just at the Wells Fargo, at the Starbucks across the street, at the Midi Mall complex, you have your general security, and then there's that guy that sits in the car that I think is a police car on the highway, and then I see it just says security, and I want to kill that guy. You know that guy that has the fake lights on the hood of his car? Have you ever seen him?
Yeah, but I don't think you should threaten to kill those people.
Damn.
Many of our listeners, Garrett, are in fact security guards. They sit around for a long time at night. They got to listen to something. They're listening to this.
That is a good choice, and we appreciate you, listeners. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about your scumbag coworkers. And I'll just run them down with my car. Okay. That's the end of the rap sheet?
Yes.
All right, Tim. We've put it off long enough. Can we talk about this song?
Absolutely.
Musically, this is Cashmere.
Oh, absolutely. It's sort of a remix, maybe, but not really. It's sort of just the song.
It's the hook from the song, Cashmere, just played over and over and over. It does not sound significantly different to me. There's a little more bass, I agree.
That's that Tom Morello effect, Garrett.
Right. He might be the best part of this song. To the listener, if you haven't heard it, first of all, we should probably give him a taste, right?
Sure.
Okay. So if you haven't heard it, here it is. A little bit, Puff Daddy's Come With Me from the hit film Godzilla. And I don't think it was a very big hit, despite what Tim says.
I wanna quit it, I wanna fight you, I fucking bite you, can't stand nobody like you, you can't run, you can't hide, no surprise, close your eyes.
Okay, what a pile of shit. It is Cashmere over and over again while Diddy raps, and it reminded me vaguely of the building rap style of Eminem for, say, Lose Yourself, but this song doesn't go anywhere.
No, it doesn't. This song basically has sort of a similar structure to a lot of songs we talked about. He's got a lot of enemies. They're backstabbing him, but he's going to come out victorious. But it's unclear. How does this relate to Godzilla? You're
okay,
right.
So you're getting into the content, and that's fine.
It seems like something is coming.
Yes, as you mentioned, he is fighting back. He is standing up to and not going to take it from something anymore. We never get to that confrontation, that final showdown.
Well, not in the song, at least.
Well, sure. The music video is a completely different thing, Tim. That thing is a tight narrative. It's a big old pile of mess, too. But the song, objectively, doesn't make any sense. You get those instantly recognizable strings. If it went anywhere, it might be a good song. But it is just him rapping and doing almost nonsense verses over the song. So you and I, of course, scrutinize these words, and I guess we should probably... Is there anything specific you want to say about the music? Because I feel like we're about to just dive right into the content.
No, the music is Cashmere.
Yeah, it's Cashmere while he raps over it. Okay, so let's talk about the words. He's very combative. He's not going to take it anymore. He's hurt. He feels abused. He's been down and out, and now he's coming back, and things are going to change, and something's going to happen, and somebody's going to pay for it. We don't know the answer to any of those, and it's enraging.
Absolutely. Try to trap me, bad rap, wiretap me, backstab me, break the faith, fall from grace, tell me lies, time flies. It's not really about anything whatsoever.
Sure, you get a general sense from the way he delivers those lines and the dramatic orchestral symphony behind him that you get an emotional sense for it, right? He feels wronged. He's been hurt, but you don't know what happened. You don't know by whom. I think the message is you shouldn't have treated me so poorly because when you do that, bad things happen to you, right?
Sure.
Is karma the point of this?
Absolutely, Garrett. Fuck my enemies, fuck my foes, damn these hoes. You're stepping on my toes. Back up off me. Take your hands off me. Give me room to breathe. I'm not hearing it. I'm not fearing it. I'm up to my ears in it. Bullshit. I'm destructive. Some women find that seductive. No, you know what? I don't think you're right. I don't think this is about anything.
It sounds like he just played Cashmere and said whatever came to mind.
This song is really, it's an example of somebody that's either bad at rapping or is really phoning it in.
Speaking of phones, Tim, there's a small vocal effect on him, or did he literally phone this in?
It's possible. I think that he recorded a bunch of lines in various settings, and then they were just placed in the song where it seemed like they would go together. 88% of the lines in this song consist of 4 or less words. There are 12 lines in this song with 5 words, and 6 lines with 6, none more than that. You listen to somebody that is objectively good at rapping, that's able to rhyme multiple syllables from multiple lines, and it all flows together really well. Eminem does it, despite what we said about him on that show. This isn't Eminem. This isn't even D. Antwoord quality.
No, D. Antwoord does a better job than this.
Garrett Sublime does a better job than this.
Easy, Tim. Easy. Fuck you. I'm still shaking off the tremors from last week. That was horrid. I really hate you.
Yeah, that's fair.
Tim, we had progressed to a level level 6 friendship, and that brought us all the way back down to a 2.4.
2.4? That is on the Johnson friendship scale, or is it metric?
Oh, it's metric.
Then I can live with that.
Okay. I'm looking at these lyrics, and they're just, I mean, you said it all with your really creepy, weird statistics, but I want to fight you. I'll fucking bite you. Is this Godzilla? Is this P. Dingle?
Well, I think that it's P. Dingle.
Is he threatening to bite Godzilla?
Garrett, you don't bite Godzilla. He's all like slimy from the ocean.
Okay, that's the stupidest reason to not bite Godzilla, you fucking idiot. No, okay.
We need to discuss, was this song written about the movie or with the movie in mind, or was this just something that he had, and we'll try and shoehorn a little Godzilla in there. We'll put a line about biting you or something. Some Godzilla noises in it, because that happens.
You cannot in any way say that this song has anything to do with Godzilla. So that lends itself to, hey, I had this sitting around, here you go. However, I do believe this was commissioned work for the film Godzilla, and based on what I know about P. Dingle, it would not surprise me if they showed him the movie and he gave them this.
That could
be. Like, it's great, you're welcome.
It could also be that he couldn't figure out how his VCR worked, and so he just wasn't able to watch the movie, and he was kind of embarrassed that he couldn't figure it out.
Stupid.
Yeah, so he just wrote a song about what he thought Godzilla would be about. And you got that biting in there. There's maybe some references to the Catholic Church.
Well, that's true.
Godzilla is Catholic,
Tim,
of course.
Right. Does he accept communion? Yes. Tim, you might be right. That's a really good theory, because I'm looking at these lyrics. You can't avoid me. I'm here to stay. Forever and ever and a day. That's never. I can't let you go. I can't forget. Okay, so this could be from the perspective of Godzilla, written by a man who's never seen the film Godzilla.
Maybe he thinks that it's like a X-Men kind of thing. Godzilla is the hero of the movie, just a misunderstood monster. Maybe he had just never heard of Matthew Broderick killing those people, and so he just didn't really understand what the movie was about underneath the monsters.
Wow. I mean, I've seen this movie fairly recently. I'm not sure
It's a metaphor, Garrett.
Yeah, I mean, you explained it to me earlier, but I'm having doubts now.
No, Preston got it.
No, you cannot start siding with our listeners against me. That can't start. There's enough antagonistic emails to begin with that I don't care for. The song ends with a Godzilla roar, as all good songs do, and there are 21 come with me's.
What's your point?
That's not acceptable.
Song's called Come With Me, Garrett.
That's true, I guess. It's not like that Slipknot song, Enemy, that's not called Enemy, but he says enemy 53 times. Enemy. Did he make a Godzilla roar, or was he doing a Led Zeppelin wail?
I think Led Zeppelin, because as discussed, he would have no idea what a Godzilla roar was.
Oh, that's right. Having never seen the hit film Godzilla. God, I think that might be it, Tim. That's a brilliant deduction. I'll bet you that he had difficulty operating his video cassette machine and didn't want to look like a dumbass. So he's like, here you go. Come with me. It's about fighting and biting. Thanks,
It is about fighting and biting, in his defense.
That's true. Okay, Tim. God, I could talk your ear off about that movie. It's not good. And I wish there were more hours in the week so that we could bring to you the Why I Hate This Movie Godzilla companion episode. But we're just not there yet, folks. That's why you got to get people to rate, review, subscribe, and most importantly, listen to the show. It's the only way we're going to get this thing off the ground. Anyway, can we talk about the video?
Let's start off with this. It's amazing and totally redeems this song.
I don't know about that.
It was nominated for Best Video from a Film at the 1998 MTV VMAs. However, it lost to Diane Warren's and Aerosmith's I Don't Want to Miss a Thing. Also losing that year, Celine Dion's My Heart Will Go On from Titanic and Beck's Deadweight from A Life Less Ordinary.
Oh, wow.
Let's just run through what happens in the video.
Absolutely. Diddy's watching the news about the recent Godzilla-ing.
Yes.
And I think that the newscaster might be Harry Shearer, because I think he's in Godzilla.
Oh.
And all we hear is a newscaster saying, and a lot of people are not happy. And so Diddy goes to the window going, oh, damn, there's a Godzilla outside. So he goes to the window as you would to check it out. And sure enough, there it is. And that is when, Tim, I don't want to say that it's on, but it looks like Diddy gets served.
He does.
With a bus.
Yeah. Godzilla like smashes into the window, throws him back into the room. And then inexplicably, Cashmere starts playing. That was a song from 23 years ago at this point.
God, was it only 23?
From 1998, yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Mid-70s?
Yeah, I guess that's right.
Or 73, maybe?
Yeah, so a 25-year-old song at best just begins playing, and it's Cashmere. And I'm thinking, why is Led Zeppelin playing while I watch this Godzilla movie, Godzilla v. P. Doodle? But as we mentioned, Diddy gets served by a bus as it crashes through his apartment, and that is when it is on. So therefore, you see Diddy get up, declaratively stand up to the window, and show Godzilla that he has not been punked by that bus. Diddy then returns the challenge to the skyscraper-sized lizard outside his window, right?
Yeah.
When he's standing there letting Godzilla know that shit's on, coincidentally, a jet blows up. Well, not coincidentally. Godzilla uses his tail to thrash a jet just as it goes by. It blows up, blowing Doodle back into his apartment.
Back into an elevator.
Right. You're right, Tim. So he gets blown back into an elevator, and it begins to go up, forcing Diddle to throw his shirt to the ground and begin aggressively rapping upwards towards the ceiling, coincidentally the camera, as this thing Willy Wonkas through the roof of his apartment.
Charlie in the Great Glass Elevator, I believe, is what happens.
Right. It's a Wonkavator.
It tears through the roof of his apartment building, and then he flies through the roof of the elevator, and then he explodes into doves.
He does explode into doves. I didn't see that coming. It might be the biggest shocker of the whole music videos when he explodes into a flock of doves.
Yes. This is, again, very interesting. This goes back to the hero's journey. Whenever he's in the apartment and whenever he's in the elevator, he's dressed in black, but once he explodes into doves and then reforms into a man and begins falling from the sky, he is dressed in white, thus completing the transformation. He has gone from a man who would challenge Godzilla to a man who could actually defeat Godzilla, and I think that's what we'll find out happen.
Yeah, it is analogous to The Matrix, where Morpheus says he's beginning to believe.
Oh, I thought that was all nonsense. I thought you were really going to hate that, but okay.
Anyway, he also is wearing a pair of sunglasses that are embarrassing and very 1998. I know, because I owned a pair.
That sounds right.
There is a photo in my dresser right now of me wearing those glasses with a suit that has no tie, Tim, but rather a round black metal pearl that snapped onto the collar.
What?
Because it was 1998 and I was cool.
You were not.
No, I wasn't. So as he falls to the ground, he falls into Times Square, and the rebellious rapping does not stop, and now there's an orchestra behind him.
While he's falling, he stops rapping and begins singing briefly.
Oh, that's a good point. We didn't touch on the singing at all. How dare we? The singing. I close my eyes. What?
I would argue that is more surprising than him exploding into doves.
You're right. I stand corrected. Doves number 2. It is so weird and embarrassing and unneeded. Just don't.
Whenever he lands in Times Square, as you've mentioned, he begins rocking out. He's dancing and he's unbuttoning his
diddy-bopping,
shirt.
Tim.
Oh yeah, I love that dance.
I do
Flailing
too.
your arms as you spin a bit.
He's a wacky, inflatable, arm-flailing Diddy man. It is incredible. I love Diddy bopping. I can't do it. You can do it, Tim. You're great at it. We should take an Instagram video, post that on the old internet.
No, I don't want anyone to know what I look like. Well, I guess, you know what? I could post a picture of my face and no one would know what I look like.
Yeah, you're just the generic starting portrait for all known serial killers. White male, age 18 to 35. Anyway, I think he's standing on the bleachers that are on those TKTS bleachers. You know, Tim, where you can get the cheap theater tickets. We've been there a fucking shit ton. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Oh, we've sat on these bleachers. I hate you.
Wait, I've sat where Diddy has stood?
Yeah, I believe so. More importantly, Tim, you've sat where Godzilla stood.
I'm more impressed with the Diddy.
This is where we learn that the entire plan was to lure Godzilla to Times Square using Diddy.
I have to go back to this because we kind of glossed over it. He is unbuttoning his shirt for some reason. Why did people do this in the 90s?
I don't know. I blame Usher.
As the song progresses, he unbuttons more and more.
He ends up shirtless. They lure Godzilla to this Doodle concert. They stand toe to toe. And are we to believe that Godzilla judges Diddy either worthy of living or too much of a threat to fight? Is this a standoff?
I'm not sure. I couldn't figure it out. My initial thought was maybe his song soothed the beast. The video appears to be implying that Godzilla was either calmed by his performance or that Godzilla realized the sheer power of Dr. Diddy and his music, and he realized he was no match for it because he strikes this sort of submissive posture.
Oh, yeah.
It's,
He tamed that lizard.
Yeah.
And then the video ends. All that kind of for nothing, just as the song builds and builds and builds, with the small exception of where where he sings, I close my eyes. I don't even know if those are the words. It sounds like that, right?
It doesn't matter.
And he starts crying? Is Godzilla crying? Is it Diddy crying?
Oh, man. If you could make the beast cry.
Can lizards cry? Can animals cry? We've asked this before, haven't we? Zoologists.
No,
where the fuck are you on this?
I think it's can you eat snake eggs? I think that's where we were. Not can you...
That question was asked, and we did not get a sufficient answer.
Oh, I did.
Can you... What do you mean?
Have you enjoyed your omelets this week?
No, they've been gross.
Right.
Is that why? They've been snake eggs?
But they've been edible, right?
I mean...
You got it down.
I did get it down. You're right.
Snake eggs are edible. Also alligator eggs. And a weird lizard that I found.
You just eating random lizard eggs?
No, Garrett, I'm not eating eggs.
That's right. You hate eggs.
Look, Garrett, you can go on the street and just find eggs anywhere. My food should not be able to just be found on the side of the road.
What are you talking about? How many eggs are you finding on the side of the road?
I take your dog for walks. He finds a lot of eggs.
Was that even the same dog? It was a different dog.
Oh, it's a different dog. Oh.
All right, Tim, you've made this sad. God. How did this thing do?
This song hit number 4 on the Billboard 200 chart, number 1 on the Hot Rap Songs, number 2 on the Schweizer Hit Parade, number 12 on the Swedish Sverigetoplisten, and number 8 on the Dutch mega charts. It sold over 1 million copies in the US alone and has sold over 2 million copies worldwide.
Good Lord, it's not good.
Godzilla, the album, sold over 2.5 million copies worldwide. It is platinum in the US. It peaked at number 2 on the Billboard 200 list. We got to talk a little bit about Dr. Diddy because this man has won 3 Grammys. He is estimated currently, his net worth, you want to take a guess?
I will say $868 million.
Oh, so close. $825 million. He's the second richest hip-hopist after Jay-Z.
And that is where my criticism stops. As a businessman, I have nothing but respect for P. Dingle.
Let me throw this fact at you before you go on.
Okay.
800 million of that fortune is due entirely to this song and music video.
No, just shut up. That cannot be true.
It is. That's what the internet told me.
The internet's lying.
Oh.
Because Sean John is probably responsible for most of that.
They're making most of their eggs, or their eggs. They're making most of their jackets out of rodent fur.
Out of dogs, for God's sake. Any reviews for this?
We do have a couple of Amazon reviews here. Amazon customer in 2016 said, "This is the only song I like by Puff Daddy. It doesn't focus on that street crap like other rap songs." So this is a guy who wants all of his rap songs to at least peripherally involve a giant lizard monster, not street crap.
Tim, if I had it my way, same.
Yep.
I might have written that review.
Did you write that review?
No, I don't like this song.
This is by Robert Overbay. I wasn't a fan of any of his music until I listened to this song at the end of the movie Godzilla. I immediately liked it. It pumped me up for a good workout in the gym. I especially like the sound effects in the background from the movie, and it has a special meaning to me. I suppose you could use music for any purpose that suits you. I plan to use this CD as a pre-workout pump while driving to the gym. I can't wait till it arrives. It's great. What special meaning?
I don't know.
I'm tracking Robert Overbay down, and I'm finding out.
Robert, I apologize in advance. All right, Tim, who is this for?
Roland Emmerich and Matthew Broderick, I guess.
Good pick. And P. Dingle, probably.
Lizard people, monster men.
Yeah, Godzilla in general. What have we not said about this?
I don't think anything.
Right. I mean, my biggest question is, why is this in any way related to Godzilla?
Yeah, I would love to know when he first put pen to paper on this thing. I'd love to know if this was a recycled thing that he tried to shoehorn Godzilla into, or if he just literally did not know what Godzilla was.
Yeah, I think your theory that he couldn't get the DVD to work is probably the most likely. Okay, Tim, let's ask the big question now that we've analyzed it, gotten into the nitty-gritty. Do you hate this song?
Yeah, Garrett, this thing just sucks. The video's great, though, if only because it gives you an extra little glimpse of 1998's Godzilla.
It also has a shit ton of dinosaur roars in it.
Yeah, it does.
We didn't mention just how many sound effects they integrated from the footage in the video. It's just full of Godzilla roars. And now, this song is included on some deluxe best of Puff Daddy. If you get it now, all of the swears have been replaced with dinosaur roars.
Really? That's fantastic.
It's a better version, I'll tell you that much. I'd much rather hear Godzilla do Diddy. Zilla does Diddy. A Christmas album.
What about you, Garrett? Did you hate this?
Absolutely. You hate it. I hate it. It's very hateable. Music video is not. It's ridiculous. It's enjoyable. And we will add this to the list. for the future. Will it happen? I don't know. Why I hate this movie.
I can answer that right away. No, I don't. But I look forward to watching it with you again.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. That brings us, Tim, to listener mail. That is where you and I each pick a piece of correspondence from a listener through our many channels, and we read it here on the show. Usually it has a question, comment, concern, thought, or story that we found personally amusing. I will let you go first this week.
Mine this week is from David Martin on, I believe, Facebook, who says, strangely enough, I'm one of the 200 or so people who actually bought Katy Perry's self-titled Christian album back in 2001. I caught her as the opening act for another Christian band I was into back then. I think she was like 16 at the time. Just her and acoustic guitar. It was actually quite charming. But the album was bizarrely overwrought and she oversang on every damn song. It's not a complete train wreck, but it wasn't great and it certainly wasn't radio friendly for the most part. And then he answers one of our questions. He said, I know it was the Christian music ghetto, but 200 albums is an extremely paltry sales figure even for that subgenre. It might be a collector's album though. So we know now we have a listener who has this album. So next episode?
No.
Oh.
We're not doing an episode for 200 people.
No, we're promoting it. No, you know what? You're right.
Yeah, it sounds terrible.
Right, next episode.
All right, so mine is a real email that we got.
If you say it's a real email, it makes it sound like you wrote this.
I promise I didn't. The email is titled Application Deadline Approaching. It is from Liberty University Online Programs. It says, Dear Why I Hate This Album, get your degree on the fast track. Flexible schedules, affordable degree options, 100% online, 87% awarded financial aid. Request info here. Start today. Liberty University Online.
Garrett, I have some good news and some bad news.
Hit me.
I got to this email before you did.
Which is that?
That is... Oh, it's all bad news, Garrett. I now attend Liberty University. Online, of course.
I wonder if they remotely install an internet filter. You know, I may be on board with this.
No, Garrett, they've installed a thing in my neck.
Oh, Jesus. Impure thoughts equals what? Electrical stimulation, I assume?
Oh, no, Garrett. Your brain floods with Jesus's tears.
Oh, Christ.
Yeah, right, exactly.
You're going to have one soggy brain, because I've heard just a few of the inner thoughts that you share with me, and they are not pure. I do have one other email, Tim, that's a little more geared towards our typical email, since that was what I now understand to be just for you. This email is from Quasi, Quazi. Quasi? It's gotta be Quasi. Quasi writes, Hi guys, it is I, Quasi. You're somewhat...
You should have stopped right there, Quasi, because it's not going to get funnier than that.
Arguably, I gave him a strange voice, and Quasi, I apologize for that. I'm making assumptions, but your name is fascinating. I will begin again. Hi, guys. It is I, Quasi, your somewhat homoerotic fan.
I was wrong, Garrett.
I gotta pre-read these. Sorry I've taken so long to write back to you, but after you sent me those quicksand video links, well, let's just say with that and the chicks who get their heads shaved website, I have been in a constant state of touching myself. Jesus.
You know, I have to take responsibility for this. I do remember this guy. He wrote us an email claiming we were lying about...
Quicksandvids.com?
Yeah, exactly. So I sent him pornography. Well, not pornography. It was women slowly sinking into quicksand to demonstrate that we were not lying.
Nothing erotic about that. Can't feel bad about it. Quasi goes on, but now that I have been rubbed raw, I have had time to catch up on your podcast and heard you guys aren't sure what you should call hookers so that they aren't offended. Oh boy. Luckily for you, I used to be, or possibly still am, a limho driver.
What?
Get him? L-I-M-H-O,
Oh,
like a
I
limo,
do.
but H-O. Yeah, okay. He's a limho driver. In parentheses, he says, think pimp, but I don't take all their money. They pay me for rides and they make sure they get picked up and I charge them a service fee. That sounds like an Uber driver that caters to horse, right?
Yes.
And I can tell you that they don't care what they're called. They do prefer to be treated like shit, though. Hooker, bitch, hoe, skeezer, etc. is how they should always be referenced. In fact, I have included a Facebook conversation I had with one of these skanks I used to limho drive. I feel as though you will enjoy it. He then signs off by saying, now back to messing around with them dirty, dirty gutter sluts. K thanks, bye, Quasi. Jesus Christ.
I apologize for laughing at Quasi. He might beat me with some sort of cane.
And he did include, I won't share them because I don't want anyone to get in trouble here, but he did share some some Facebook posts in our email, Tim, that are fucking hysterical. They're Facebook conversations with what are definitely prostitutes. Or, allegedly. This is all, of course, parody and not real and allegedly and all whatever. This is all jokes. They're not really whores, but Tim, they're clearly prostitutes. They're fucking hilarious. Loved the emails this week. That brings us, though, Tim, to music news of the weird. There are strange stories we find in the news that may or may not have something to do with folks that have previously been featured on this show. I'll kick things off for us. My first story is about Drake, Tim. You remember Drake, right?
No.
Okay. Well, the rapper Drake, formerly from Degrassi High, has dismantled various records set by legendary bands this year. In July of last year, he placed 7 songs in the top 10 of the Billboard Top 100, breaking the previous record of 5 songs held by the Beatles. 3 months later, he also broke the record for the most Hot 100 top 10 songs in a single year, passing the Beatles' 1964 achievement. And to commemorate all of these achievements, Tim, Drake has gotten a tattoo of the legendary Abbey Road cover of the Beatles walking across the street, but then in front of all of them is Drake looking back and waving churlishly.
I can see that, yeah.
Yeah, so the internet has reacted honestly as you and I would hope they would, largely by saying, yeah, but you're Drake and they're the Beatles, so cool, but not really. It's kind of a collective just like, hey man, have some fucking class.
Yeah, the internet often does not advise class, so this is good. This is an improvement.
They usually take the low road. And let me personally say, you nasally fuck, I hate all your music. And the Beatles, well, I was going to say the Beatles' worst music is better than your best. That's not true. They have some real garbage. But Drake, you've been warned. Moving on, Tim, sad news. As reported by Consequence of Sound, model Josh Kloss has accused Katy Perry of pulling down his pants at a party and exposing him in front of her friends. He says, quote, this one time, I brought a friend who was dying to meet her, Kloss recalled, and it was Johnny Wujic's birthday at Moonlight Rollerway. And when I saw her, we hugged, and she was still my crush. But as I turned to introduce my friend, she pulled my Adidas sweats and underwear out as far as she could to show a couple of her guy friends and the crowd around us my penis.
That is on brand.
She wants to see that peacock.
Yep.
Can you imagine how pathetic and embarrassed I felt? I just say this now because our culture is set on proving men of power are perverse, but females with power are just as disgusting.
Can I give you some other sexual assault news theme
Let's tag team it.
Yeah. So in sexual assault news today, our paragon of morality, Lena Dunham, may be in a little bit of trouble after she attended the premiere of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Did you hear about this?
You're a few weeks behind the ball, Tim, but go ahead.
Oh, well, this
I actually
whole show
held a board meeting last week to discuss this. You did not attend, which left me in a room with Kevin for 6 hours.
Anyway, she met Brad Pitt on the red carpet and attempted to kiss him on the lips, which he did not seem too into. Now, they're both a little at fault here because you shouldn't just try and kiss somebody you don't know. But also, Brad Pitt, it's Lena Dunham. Gotta kind of let her do what she wants.
I would not kiss Lena Dunham.
You gotta let her do what she wants, Garrett. She's gonna get it.
She's gonna get that mouth.
Yeah.
Those delicious root beer lips.
The internet appears very confused whose side to be on it. I definitely get it, you know? It seems like Mr. Pitt
should just let her kiss his face.
Right, yeah. And I mean, it seems like if Mr. Pitt did this to her, we would be rightfully angry. But how can we consider anything Lena does to be, sexual assault, frankly?
Well, as the board voted last week, she's no longer our director of progressive operations here
I call
at
it.
Why I Hate This Album. No, of course not.
I already said I call it.
That is not how business works. How do you... Jesus Christ, Tim, this is why you don't have a key card that opens all the doors here at the studio. No, we will be accepting applications. We haven't even made the full transition. This is strictly probationary. The board has not made a decision. There will be a vote next week. I'd like to remind you to show up. Otherwise, again, it is me in a room with Kevin for 6 hours.
Well, if you elect me, I will attend.
I will not do that. We're going to get someone qualified this time.
All right.
In other news, Tim, repeat friend of the show, Little Nas X has caused the street sign of Old Town Road in Wellesley, Massachusetts to continually be stolen. Town officials say the signs have been swiped at least 3 times in recent months, according to the town's website. The town has announced that they will not be replacing the road signs anytime soon, waiting until the fame of the song wears off until they do so, hoping that they will not be stolen again. again. Now, Tim, as you and I know, that leads me to my next story. Lil Nas X's Old Town Road featuring Billy Ray Cyrus has extended its record at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100, topping the chart a whopping 19th week in a row.
Can I tell you a little bit of sad news here? Some fallout from this whole thing?
Please.
Obviously, the success of the single Old Town Road and the resurgence in popularity of B-Ray Cy has taken a toll on his family, specifically his daughter, Miley. She recently said that she could not stand for somebody in her family to take the spotlight away from her for even a moment. So in her attempt to wrestle it back, she has announced that she is, of course, separating from Liam Hemsworth, and the BuzzFeed community is in an uproar. But in an interview last month, Miley spoke about being in a heterosexual relationship while identifying as queer, saying, "I'm in a hetero relationship, but I'm still very sexually attracted to women. People become vegetarian for health reasons, but bacon is still fucking good." She went on to say, "I think it's very confusing to people that I'm married, but my relationship is unique, and I don't know that I would ever publicly allow people in there because it's so complex and modern and new. So much so that I don't think we're in a place where people would even get it." I think we can both agree that she sounds very complex and interesting, and we should all be talking about her instead of B-Ray Cy because she is important and the things that she does matter.
I hope next week she shows up with like the long hair and the beard. Looks like Jared Leto.
That would be great.
What? I've always looked like this.
It's a handsome man right there.
All right, Tim, in other news, Jack Black and Kyle Gass of Tenacious D fame have released a new video blog documenting a recent meetup with White Stripe rocker Jack White, where the pair's Tenacious D partnered with the musician to create a new song titled Jack Gray. The 17-minute video follows Tenacious D through their Nashville tour this summer as they visit White's Third Man Records as well as his home studio. I watched the majority of this. It's pretty entertaining. Not much Jack White in it. He's got a couple little jokes here and there. He seems like a real handful to be friends with.
Oh, absolutely. That was my mom's take on it as well.
Yeah. Chris, dynamite read.
Yeah. By the way, do you have anything to say here at this point? Maybe an apology? Maybe an admission that my story about them meeting a few weeks ago was in fact interesting and that you were wrong all along?
Wrong about what now?
I read you a story about how these two met, and you said it wasn't interesting. You criticized me. You criticized my news finding ability. You criticized my news reading ability, frankly. And I think that I deserve an apology.
But you didn't tell us anything other than they met.
That's essentially what you have told us. It's an interesting story, Garrett. You just say it. Just say that what I said was interesting.
You're fired.
You can't fire me, Garrett.
No, but I can put you on unpaid leave.
I don't care for that.
Tim, the 20th gathering of the Juggalos has come to an end. Can you believe it? It's been 20 straight years.
I know, it feels like just yesterday.
Yeah, just putting on that paint for the first time and heading out to that soon-to-be ruined wooded area. Insane Clown Posse's final night set ended with Juggalos setting fire to picnic tables, chairs, and anything that wasn't tied down, as other Juggalos lamented audibly about goddamn Juggalos that were going to get the festival kicked out of yet another city. As the fire burned and the festival came to an end, Juggalos gathered round the fire and paraphrased a popular pro wrestling chant, "We fucked up, we fucked up." That has no cultural resonance to me or anything that I do personally. Does it to you?
No.
I looked at a ton of photos from this year, and if you've never looked at footage online of a gathering, folks, do yourself a favor, get in incognito mode. Don't do this at work, for the love of God, because if I come into your cube at work and you've got pornography up, I'm gonna judge you. It's weird. You're at work. You shouldn't want to be aroused. But I at least understand fundamentally where that arousal's stemming from. If I come into your cube at work and you have what appears to be pornography, but starring the least attractive people you've ever seen that have clearly not bathed in multiple days and might be on meth, I'm gonna judge you more. Let's just do it at home. Or, you know what? Take your phone into the bathroom. I've heard a lot of people are having a lot of success with that.
Yeah, it's a good move. I have some really good news for nature enthusiasts currently being stalked by cougars.
I fail to see how this has anything to do with music, but okay, let's take the journey.
A Vancouver woman was recently in this very situation. A cougar started stalking her and then moved to block her path on a hiking trail. However, she was able to scare it away by playing Metallica's harmonicas don't tread on me. She says, I immediately put it on and held it high up in the air. As soon as he hit the first note, the cougar bolted. He was just gone.
It's a good thing she didn't play Come With Me. Might have lured the cougar in.
Well,
without the
I feel like
machismo of P. Dingle.
Yeah, that is the thing. You have to be able to back that up. You have to be able to stand toe-to-toe with the lizard.
Now, if she had diddy bopped and then ripped her shirt off, then she's 60% of the way there. If that cougar has any doubts at all going into that combat, that should do it. With the combination of the song, that powerful song, you gotta imagine, Tim, that song plus Diddy can take down a Godzilla. This is just a woman versus a cougar. You got that song, you're probably 49% of the way there. You diddy bop into a shirt rip and you hurl it on the ground. If necessary, you rap in the cougar's face.
Oh, I always rap in cougars' faces.
Yeah, that's why we're not allowed back at the zoo. Well, you're not allowed back at the zoo, and I keep having things ruined for knowing you. Okay, Tim, as we did for our previous Prepisode, this is a special anniversary announcement for the album we will be doing next week. To commemorate the 87th episode, we are going back into the vault. We have each selected an artist to revisit, and we are picking an album unbeknownst to the other to then revisit and do as the future episode. Now, Tim picked 40 Ounces to Freedom, the terrible, terrible Sublime album, 40 Ounces to Freedom, and I just want to apologize to everybody. That was horrible for me. Tim loved it. Horrible for you. We all know that. I don't mind saying it. So I was left with a very difficult choice. How do I pay Tim back for such a horrible... It was 70 plus minutes, Tim.
Yes.
Of Sublime.
Garrett.
What?
I hate you.
Came through loud and clear. So I had to decide, do I spite you or do I please the audience?
Easy choice.
Typically, yes. And I think I have found something that marries the two to some degree. We almost had a Lady Gaga album, but we don't. We almost had an Eminem album, but we do not have that either. Would you like to guess? Do you think you know?
I have fears.
I'd love to hear them. As I told you last Prepisode, I was worried about the Fray. What are you worried about?
I'm worried about Die Antwoord, frankly.
Interesting.
I remember you love that band, and I do not. Mm-hmm. I'm worried about another Sublime album, I'll be honest.
Yeah, you know what? That was my first choice. It seemed like the funniest choice, but I couldn't do it because I hate that band.
That's good because next time, whenever we celebrate the 89th and 91st episode, I'll have another choice.
We're not doing it that soon, and you're not picking Sublime. No triple picks.
Untrue.
We'll work it out. We'll have the lawyers work it out. Any other fears? Any hopes? Is there anything you hope it is?
No.
Do you know what we've done?
Garrett, you're a very complex man. It could be anything. You might pick something that you hate even more than me knowing that I will hate it.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. I'm just curious, is there a band you would like for me to have picked? There's none come to mind?
Oh, God. Is it Corey Feldman? Oh, God. Oh, God, Karen, no. No. You can't do this. Dude, oh, you fuck. Oh, damn it. Oh, my God. Is it Corey Feldman?
Tim, would you like me to announce?
You sick fuck. Oh, my God. What have you done?
Oh, who knew he had more than one double LP?
Oh my God. No. Let's listen to the first half only.
Enough of this stalling. It isn't Die Antwoord. That's going to be something special. That might be like our 112th or 191. You know, something that really means something.
Sure.
And I'm going to be real honest. Up until today at 2:30, it was very much Feldman. It was the first thing that came to mind when you picked Sublime. The problem is, Tim, I listened to the first 30 seconds of all of his albums, and they're great for the show, but no one's heard of this shit, and they're really bad. They're not even as funny as Corey's Angels or whatever it was. So instead, I made the mature and I think reasonable decision. Next week's album will be Toby Keith's Shockin' Y'all. Predictions, Tim.
Oh, God.
This is the album that comes right after Unleashed.
Why would you do that? Well, then, Garrett, I assume this is like 2003, 2004, somewhere in there?
Yep.
I'm betting there's going to be a lot of 9/11 stuff. I know you love songs about that.
That is
a lot of patriotic stuff. There's probably going to be some Rooms.
Yep. Safe to say there's probably some Rooms. There's a song called If I Was Jesus. So that'll be interesting.
album?
There's also I believe it's called the Jihadi song. It's technically a bonus track, but don't worry, it's on our version.
Okay, so is it pro or anti? You know what? I don't want to know yet. I will let him surprise me.
Tim, I'll tell you, it's insane. It's fucking crazy. It's so alarming. There's no beer for my horses. There's none of that, I believe. I don't think there was a film associated with any of the songs, but I could be wrong.
Could still be coming out.
Could be. Yeah, so we will be doing Shockin' Y'all next week. I'm very excited, but that does bring us to the end of the episode. As always, please rate, review, subscribe, tell your friends, let people know. We appreciate the feedback. Reach out to us. HatePod.com has every episode we've ever done. You can download them. You can get them in any possible format you could need. You can contact us by hitting contact us in the upper left-hand corner. Ask for an email. That's just so we can reply. We don't do anything with it. Or you can just email us at hatepodmail@gmail.com. You can talk to us on Twitter and let me know. I'm out there. I typically run the Twitter account, and I gotta tell you, it's getting a little stale out there, folks. Send me some weird stuff.
Yes, the weirder the better.
Well, easy, Tim. Reach out. Let's get strange with it. We're slowly growing, but I'd like to see some more action out there. Or you can most likely talk to Tim, unless I'm nosing around on Instagram, and that is HatePod. You can hit us up on Facebook.com/HatePod. You can go to YouTube. I don't remember what the URL is. You can figure it out. You've got Google. For Why I Hate This Album, I have been one of your hosts, Garrett Harvey.
I have been Hoop Daddy.
That's for sure not going to happen. You've been Tim, previously known as Gordon Ebersole.
There's cowboys running through my dreams. Nothing's quite the way it seems. I joined the Navy, got kicked out in a week. My facial features aren't distinct. Try to find some meaning in these songs. The genius is a genius, got it wrong. No, it's a lobster murder sex thing. It's the bleaching of the rear. A full assault on both your ears. The riffs are too repetitive. The lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides. The cover art's a mess. Listen to it for a week. Now that week has passed. It's the Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Gary.